Amanda here from Create Your Future. I've got Amanda T with me. I'm Amanda M, and this is Amanda T. How are you?
Good. How are you, everybody? And Amanda M. Sorry to switch that.
Amanda M here, right? So guys, we have an exciting video on how to manifest anything you want. So Amanda T's got her own personal success story and how she manifested her new addition to her family, her little puppy named Candy. So we're going to dive into that. Just before we do, guys, Amanda's having a sale right now, 50% off, not lasting long. Definitely check it out. Link in the description, as well as we do have a free course, how to find your blocks to manifest anything. This course is going to help you build your mental diet, because, you know, a block isn't this big unmovable thing. It's as simple as what your thought is, what your focus is. So, you know, if you want to be in a relationship and you think, oh, they have baggage, they don't want to be with me, that thought is blocking you from what you want. But as soon as you recognize that and say, no, they're over their baggage and they want to be with me, boom, you've just unblocked yourself. So, you know, that course is going to help you to be able to hone in on that and to create a really powerful mental diet. It's just like one thing I didn't realize I was doing wrong, and I don't know, show of hands who's done this, questioning, okay? Questioning. Does he like me? Does he not like me? Why isn't this happening? Why did they say that? Like, none of that is a good mental diet, right? Who are you asking? You're the only one in your reality. Start focusing on what you want.
Yes. And I didn't do any questioning with this, you guys. First of all, I'm going to apologize a little bit for my appearance. I had an allergic reaction, so bear with me. And part two is everyone as you pushed out is really the key to my manifesting success. It's my favorite thing to do. I find it so easy just to get right in there. And everyone doesn't need to be a person. Like, I could do it with airlines and things like that. So this is Prince Candy here. Isn't he so cute? Yes, he is, everybody.
Candy. Oh, look at those little eyes.
He is a teacup AKC beaver Yorkie. It's a German Yorkie. Anyways, I would have adopted, not shopped, but my son wanted this very particular dog that he saw our neighbors also have, and they normally sell for about $4,000. I wasn't going to pay that much. I actually wanted to only pay about $500 total, and that's actually exactly what happened. So the first thing I did is I went on some sites, looking at some people, making sure that I liked what I saw, and I saw him for a price of $800. And even though it was too much, I just reached out, asked some general questions. I didn't ask for a discount or anything. I didn't say anything to the breeder. The very next day, so after I talked to the breeder, I was like, you know what, it's too much. If it goes down $500, then I'll make the offer. I'll buy him. And the next day I was trying to log on to my computer, and it was like, you need to message that woman. You need to message her. And I was like, okay, in a minute. And it was like, no, right now. And I was like, okay, it's important. So I message her and I'm like, okay, I talked to you yesterday about him. I think we'd like to do it. And she's like, oh, I've had so much interest since he went down in price. I go to the website and it says happy holidays. He's down $500, which makes him incredibly inexpensive. However, they were in Oklahoma. And so I needed him to come closer because of pricing and things like that with the air flights right before Christmas. And they were around $600 or something. And I only wanted to pay about $100 each way. So, and I didn't want to look. I didn't want to do any of the work. She's the one who's been doing all of this. So she was actually looking up airfare prices and saying, I wanted them to come to the West Coast. You know, people travel for Christmas. I thought maybe they're traveling my direction. Wouldn't that make it easier for me? And then I have that message. Oh, actually, we're going to be in Arizona. Do you know anyone there? We could, you know, meet you that way. And I say, oh, yeah, let's look at that. About 3 days go by. I don't look at prices or anything. I only want to pay about $100 each way. It's before Christmas. And she messages me and says, oh, look, there's a sale on airline rates. And it's actually like, it would have been like $220. So a little bit over. And by the time I went and logged in and looked at it, it was $202. So I got it for about $100 each way plus tax. 1 hour turnaround, round trip, easy. There was, a little bit of stuff with the dog and the flights and scheduling, and I almost didn't make it, but I just knew that everything had aligned so perfectly. This wasn't going to go wrong. She even says, well, I'm so worried about turnaround times on her text. And I was like, I'm not. Everything's going to be great. And so we have our little candy with us, my son's Christmas gift, and for pennies on the dollar.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? It's so true. You don't need to lift a finger. A really good example of that, that really, when these little things happen, it's just like, I love it because it just reminds me. So it was this week, for a couple weeks now, it's been on my calendar, to book my car for an oil change and maintenance. Right. And I don't know, is anyone else like me where you book things in your calendar and you constantly move it and you never actually do it. And like, it's become a game now where I just move things out a week. So I kept doing this, right? And then all of a sudden I get like a recall notice in the mail for the airbags. And I'm like, oh my God, now I really need to do it. I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm like, okay. So I was, again, pushing it out in my calendar. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to book it. I'll book it before the end of this week. I saw the reminder. It was like a Thursday and I was like, I'll push it. All of a sudden the phone rings. Guess what? It's the dealership. Hey, we're just calling to see if you wanted to schedule service. And actually at the time it was very inconvenient because I needed to organize it with Andrew. And I was actually just getting in the shower. So I was like, okay, can you call me back in like an hour? And she called me back right when I said I would need it. And I booked it. It was so, and then I got it in on a Saturday too, where I didn't even need to worry. So like everything just happened. Like everyone is you pushed out, like, and the funny thing is because they were phoning me, right? So sometimes it's hard to get in the dealership. They're busy. And, and I was like fretting a little bit about what day it would be because I have to juggle me and Andrew's schedule. And then I was like, no, you know what? They're probably calling me because there's like nobody there. I'm going to get in on the weekend. Sure enough, 2 days later, the car was in, and it was done. They told me an hour and a half and it was an hour and a half. Like everything worked out so perfectly, when you make a declaration for something, everybody out there is conspiring to make it happen because you're just a satellite beacon. All of your thoughts are just going out into the world, right?
Exactly. Yes. That's like with the airline. Like I didn't have a particular airline or anything. And I just said to the airlines, like, I know it's before Christmas. Maybe people are canceling. They want the seats full. I've worked in hospitality. I know that the rates can drop unexpectedly. And so I just knew that could happen, knew it was going to happen. And I sat and I waited and there it was. Had someone else do the work too.
I know. I love that. And now, I know some people are probably thinking, okay, why am I not getting what I want then? Okay. If this is true, then why aren't I getting what I want? Well, there is a couple things. Okay. First of all, being clear on what you want. You need to be clear on what you want, okay? And you can't have any resistance to it. Now, honestly, I had zero resistance to my car getting maintenance. Like, what resistance am I going to have to that? Like, absolutely nothing. So that happens so easily and effortlessly. But when you have something that you have resistance to, so resistance to is really like any thought or feeling that in any story that you have that is against what you want. So first thing you need to do to find out what resistance and blocks you have is get clear on what you want to manifest. Get really clear on it. What is it? Okay, I want to manifest marriage. I want to manifest, getting rid of the third party. Okay, and once you're clear on that, I create a mantra. I list out all my negative thoughts and I change them to positive intentions. And you'll notice a little theme in there. There won't be too many, but you'll notice your little theme of either they've got baggage or I'm not good enough or whatever the case is. So then you create your mantra and you say, look, you know what? I intend that they're ready to be with me and only me because they're over their baggage and I'm good enough. They're ready to be in a relationship. Always add I'm good enough in there. I mean, that's just a sprinkle of, some self-concept, right? But, and then every time you think of the situation, do not question, just go straight to your mantra. It's all the extra questioning and all the extra thoughts we think aren't a big deal, but they actually are. They cause resistance, they cause a blockage, and they'll stay in play until you decide to acknowledge them and change them because, things stay in play until you change them because that's how your house is still here, your computer, your car, because you've manifested them. They stay in play until you change it, right?
Yes, absolutely. And things can change so fast. In fact, after that, I had just one wackadoo thought. And I'm not going to share that with people, but I was like, oh, yeah, I know how I did that.
Yeah, well, this is it, right? This is it. So, then all you do is you acknowledge it and then you change it. So, like a mental diet is just constant revision. Every time you have a thought, you're at your question, do I want to create that? Like, and it's like, nope, don't. Okay. What do you want to create instead? It's like, oh, today's just a weird day. Weird things are happening. Oh, do you really want to create that? No, I intend today's a great day and everything that happens is in my favor. Right. And like, the more you do this, the easier it'll get. The easier it will get, and you can even say, I intend to stay on my mental diet easily. I intend to catch my thoughts easily. Right. And, for those of you out there that like partying and stuff, remember those thoughts that you have when you're out enjoying a martini, they count too. I can't tell you how many countless times, and those conversations that you have, they count too. So, when you are manifesting something, you've got to stop complaining about it to people. Right. You got to watch your thoughts, even when you're enjoying, those things, that are out there, if all those thoughts and conversations, it's never turned off. Right. So there is no, okay, well, I can manifest my SP, but right now I'm going to go over to my friend's house and complain about how they never make me a priority. I mean, whatever you're talking about, that's what you're speaking into existence.
Oh, absolutely. And just like with the dog thing, I mean, like I said, it was one wackadoo thought after a whole bunch of plane travel. And so I had no resistance. And it was really small, so it's not that big of a deal. But, I could have built resistance around the fact that maybe it's a backyard breeder or a scam or this or I mean, I could have made so many things with price changes and things like that I could have blown this out of the water. But being calm and knowing and having decided it was already done. And, a lot of my clients with like SP, they'll have a great time with SP. I actually want to do a whole video on this someday, because they'll have a great time with SP. And then the second they're separated, they're picking apart the weekend they spent together, the dinner they had. Why am I not good enough? Why was that not the magical moment? Well, it was a magical moment. And you're just like a little kid with a dinosaur blocks crashing it down around you, pulling down your self-confidence, destroying, these wonderful, great times you could have together. Just enjoy the moment and don't question or wonder or pick yourself apart.
Well, exactly, and if you are going to look back on something, look back on it in the favorable light, because when you look back on things and start picking them apart and questioning them, you're basically doing a form of revision. And I'm going to tell you right now that if you're picking it apart and questioning things and going that negative end, you're doing revision from the end of rejection.
Yeah, you just turned a wonderful date night into something they're now questioning because you are questioning in it.
Exactly.
You're creating that.
Yeah. And so, it's same thing. If you have a night, that wasn't that great, then you take it and you revise it into, basically it being a great night, like anything could be taken any way. So like the monkeys, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil comes to mind. It's like, if you don't want someone to disrespect you, don't make their behavior mean they're disrespecting you.
Yes.
And it's like, I used to have this client come to me and be like, he just keeps disrespecting me. Why? I'm like, because you keep saying that. Like if you want to be with this person, okay, and they do a thing, but the funny thing is the action and the behavior that they had, I didn't see it as disrespect. I really didn't. It really, to me, wasn't a big deal, but they saw it as disrespect. So, and it's fine if you see it as disrespectful, then you need to revise it and change it. So I'm not trying to go out and say what you're seeing isn't real, isn't true. Yeah, I mean, if you manifested them to do it, disrespect you, then that's totally true. That's what you did. But at some point, you need to step back and go, okay, look, this needs to change. Either I need to look at the situation different, or I need to change, what their behavior is by saying, okay, this is what they do instead. This is what they do instead, and sticking to a really good mental diet, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's just like when, clients come and they say, well, I'm just going to throw this out there. He never listens. Okay, well, now do you know why? Because you just answered it yourself. But, I can't tell you the times that I'll catch people, and every once in a while, still myself. Well, and it's like, ooh, so even just saying things like that, those little you've just affirmed it. You've just affirmed that it will continue. So any affirmation I give you, you have to stop that first. You can't.
Well, exactly. You know, yes, they didn't listen that time, but I intend they listen going forward. And this is what, how I'll know they're listening, right? You know, and it's like, you know, changing it. So it's not about denying that you've manifested it to begin with, because it's very real. It's very true. It's very there. You very much manifested it that way. It's about changing your perception on it, you know, reframing it, and then, you know, and changing what's going to happen in the future. Right. So I think it was a great story that you shared with us today with Candy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're super happy. I was excited to share little Candy with everybody.
I'm sure they love him. We should have a pets of CYF, you know.
We have enough.
Everybody's got enough. Even some people have a couple pets, so it's amazing.
I think I have 9. Anyway.
Look, 9. Oh, wow. Our operations manager, she has what, 4? She has 4 pets. Yeah, 3 cats and a dog. Yeah, and a couple coaches got a couple cats, few cats. You know, lots of pets, lots of pets. So, anyways, thank you so much for having me in your video.
Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.